Analyst desk for the Game 3 pick and bans, which will be done here live from the Analyst desk. Gentlemen, I figured that because I am the chair now, that I would do things a little bit differently.
Right.
And I love cue cards. So if we could get a quick zoom in, I've decided to draw visually the priorities of Game 3 that I think we need to talk about, okay? So let's focus in on this one first.
That's Elise.
That is Elise,
Yes.
okay? Can you tell me what this one is?
No, the cloud I don't get.
What
What is
cloud?
that?
Broxah, that's not a cloud. It is Maokai. Thank you, Broxah. What else have we got on here? Tell me.
No, that's a Sejuani.
That is a Sejuani. Last one.
That's
Lucian.
Nami.
Lucian Nami together.
Oh my God.
My analysts are brilliant. So let's talk about this jungle role. Let's talk about Elise, Maokai, Sejuani. Where do we think on the priority list they're going to fall in Game 3?
Well, I think there's going to be some bans on either of them. Blue side should be at an advantage because I doubt all three of them are going to be banned.
Right.
I think normally I would say Maokai 1, Elise 2, Sejuani 3, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay, and then the reason why I brought up the Lucian Nami was mainly because we have been seeing it a lot throughout the split, but I feel like that it's just not the same bot lane that we're used to seeing in terms of the domination and power. We saw Sivir in Game 1. We're seeing the Zeri Lulu come out again. Do we still think it's going to be a priority for Mad Lions, or do we think they're going to shift away from it?
I don't think any team should pick Lucian Nami at this point. It just doesn't seem very convincing. It seems like you can get away with just going hyper-scaling and still actually contesting them early game, so what's the point?
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think you mentioned your Sivir. You saw Seri just now in this game, right? Which one won both games? Sivir Game 1, Seri Game 2, and I'm not saying that's the only reason, but it sure as hell makes it easier to play when you have those options available to you.
Yeah, very much agree. So we will be seeing Jack, Sejuani, Maokai. So one of my cute little drawings so far being banned away. Let's see if the Lucian Nami will look to be prioritized as the Ashe. Kind of that ban that has to come through on red side. We've been seeing it now pretty consistently throughout the series. But here's the adaptation. Zeri being taken away from Exakick. You can see the smiles and laughs on his face. This was something during the regular season that they obviously had a lot of success with. It was often used for them as an answer into the Lucian Nami. And now the priority comes through for Mad. And it looks like that they are actually going to stick with it. I've already heard your thoughts on it. But what do you think then SK could use as an alternative if they don't have the Zeri Lulu?
See, I'm actually of the opinion that Exakick, when he's playing the Zeri, that's kind of Exakick in chains, and at least in the early game, because they're not able to actually play that 2v2 that I'm so used to seeing them go for. They're actually not even going to go for that Lucian either. But I actually think that Exakick being in an element where he's allowed to play the laning phase, like if you put him on the side of a Draven into it, that's perfectly fine. Now, since Lucian hasn't been picked, I could easily see them try and pick the Sivir instead, go for that. Varus is also an option that's available.
Fair. The Lucian being hovered right now by SK. Something that we haven't been seeing a lot of here in playoffs. The Lucian actually going to be locked in by SK. Perhaps a little bit of a challenge being thrown out towards Carzzy and Hilly, questioning if they actually have a bot lane answer. You already talked about the potential Sivir. Any other options you're thinking, Broxah, that maybe they could go for?
Well, they already showed us that.
Oh, they've already seen it. Before you even get to speak.
Honestly, I think this is the perfect response to Lucian Nami, because traditionally Lucian Nami wants to take over early game. Draven is one of the few champions who can contest them, who can make it difficult. Like, he just snowballs so hard. And with Hylissang unlocked on Nautilus, not only can they win the bot lane 2v2, but if they do, Hyli is going to be roaming all over the map and just destroying everyone.
Completely agree. And you're kind of forced to pick your jungler here on 3 as well, just due to the fact of how many of them has already been removed, right? You go into the second ban phase with no jungler picked on SK Gaming side. Markoon's just going to have an even harder time. And now with a Wukong as well, which is the champion that comes on online when he hits that 6 or when he picks up that Divine Sundra, it's going to halter the early game a little bit from SK, and maybe at least in terms of how they would have liked it to be played had he, for example, been on a Sejuani.
Sure. Now, when I look at bans, I always like to think of, well, what does this mean? What does this imply to me? And I see a Taliyah, and this immediately suggests to me that SK is looking at something like an Azir. What about you two? What are you thinking when you see these bans?
Yeah, I agree. I think Azir should be the highest priority mid laner open right now. SK most likely will set up for it with some bans and force Mad Lions into a situation where they, they just have to ban it away. And that's what should be happening right now. If Azir does get banned, what is SK gonna do? Like, maybe they figured they set up a good blind pick mid with these two Taliyah Victor bans. Maybe they wanna pick a safe top laner. It could be something like a Nah for Irrelevant, something he's been really good with. Cassandra is open, that's also an option. Maybe Renekton. But now we should see Azir coming in, and then it's just No, actually not. It's open.
See, this was actually something I was curious about as well, because we've seen Irrelevant be so focused on Sion when his teams nearly read it the most. I think with Azir being available, you can take that now, and then you don't have to worry about a potential counter pick on MAD Lions side if you were to blind pick the Gnar. Despite how effective it's been on Irrelevant so far, I think Azir is such a power pick, provides you so much late game engage as well, and just scaling in general.
Well, we all talked about it, we all expected it, and SK will go along with it. The Azir will be locked in for SK, giving them a little bit more range. We now look at MAD Lions in terms of their answer. They obviously have a hyper-aggressive bot side of the map. Something that really enables this is push. Maybe a Zoe here for Nisqy to be able to get that push to then potentially roam and threaten bot.
Yeah, it could be something like a Zoe, Silas, or something. Nisqy has lied a lot as well if they want to play aggressive and try to contest the mid lane. Could even be something like a Jayce, theoretically speaking, but probably...
I also think of something like a... Oh, okay. Wow.
There we go.
I mean, maybe it was the... Talk me through this Jayce, because this Jayce doesn't make sense to me.
I think right now, for MAD Lions, it's all about the bot lane. It's all about setting up Draven Nautilus for success, because if they do that, Nautilus is going to function as a second jungler, and everything is going to collapse. Jayce is one of the few champions who can just constantly put Azir under his turret, so he's not going to be able to do absolutely anything. The Gragas top makes a lot of sense, just super safe scaling pick in the top lane.
As well.
And now that he's versus Ornn, he's just going to be chilling everything straight up there.
We are finally seeing the return of Ornn, but Guldborg, to me, this looks like SK going for a pretty typical front-to-back team fight. And MAD Lions looking for a bit more aggression in the bot side of the map. Unless the Gragas goes mid here and they actually throw Chasy onto the Jayce.
We've seen FLICKR do this a couple times now already in his latest series as well. Comet, the Gragas in that mid lane would make a lot of sense with the damage profile that also is existing on MAD Lions. And you know, you just get free push from Jayce as well going into this. So if you want pushing lanes, like, this is how he can at least bridge it.
Wow,
And I actually think that's going to come through as well. At first, I was a bit worried, because had that been a Gragas topside, I think if you went full late game, the amount of damage profile you would have on that team would be very minimum, and the Draven and Jayce wouldn't really be set up for success. But this way around, is Nisqy, he's still going to be a threat.
So, my opinion is that MAD is good at playing through the early game, and they're good at playing through bot. So I like what MAD have gone for. I'm predicting MAD. Guldborg, who are you predicting very quickly?
I'll take the scaling aspect. I'll go on SK side.
Scaling, go in SK. The decider, what are you thinking?
I'm also going to say MAD. I'm a little surprised at putting Jayce top instead of just keeping him mid lane, just having priority. But I like the playmaking on Nisqy, and I think this is going to be really spicy.
It's almost like a throwback. I remember Nisqy's been playing a long time. I remember the good old days of Gragas mid, especially when we've been a little bit nostalgic today. But of course, we are here in Game 3 between SK and MAD Lions. We're guaranteed at least one more. So without further ado, let's get into it.
And welcome to Summoner's Rift for Game 3 of MAD Lions taking on SK. Two very interesting things to focus on. Nisqy running that Gragas mid lane. What impact will he be able to have? And can he roam to those side lanes? Secondly, I think we need to watch the bottom lane very closely. Throughout both of the games this series, every single player on the Rift has been willing to throw down, to play aggressively, to trade into one another. We've had a number of solo kills, we've had the 2v2 kills, and I think with a Draven Nautilus and Lucian Nami, the potential is huge for one of those duos to get ahead.
Yeah, you got to keep your eyes out for level 1 hooks. Of course, with the Glacial Augment, those hooks lock you down so brutally. Also, you'll notice Hylissang went down, put the ward in river, based immediately to get Sweeper, which is going to be back up right around the time he's back into lane, so they can play for bush control. If they get early prio on the waves, he camps up in a forward bush, and SK don't really get to farm.
And I'm surprised to see SK actually running the Ignite on Exakick. I thought I'd see the exhaust coming through, just make sure you can get past this really difficult lane matchup, but they want to try and go aggressive. MAD also hovering here, pretending that they're doing the red buff and helping out, so hiding where Elyoya is starting.
Yeah, Elyoya actually starting on the Wolves, which is something a bit unique. He's been doing a lot of these Raptor starts on the Vibe. You can see he takes E, level 1. Usually you take W against the single target camps, blue buff, red buff, for the percent HP damage. But here, level 1, we have the hook playing for some early poke, and it is traded back here, but that's brutal hits onto DOS. Hylissang also has the sweeper, so he can clear away this ward.
Carzzy being able to at least close out that exchange with the HP advantage. We've seen him play this Draven once this year. It was a loss, wasn't able to have the same level of impact that we've seen from other Draven players. But with that early trade, all of a sudden SK, they're conceding the wave, they're conceding the challenge, and they're playing very safe under their tower.
Keep your eyes on Markoon though. Just immediately going over towards Gromp, wants to try and get down here as soon as this wave's crashed, but I don't know if he'll really get a chance to actually get an impact here. So Carzzy and Hilly moving up now to get vision as well, make sure they're not going to get ganked.
Yeah, not the healthiest clear so far for Markoon, so it'd be a little bit tough, especially with the really forward ward that they just went ahead and put down inside river. There's also a ward on Markoon's Raptors, so I think Mad Lions have some idea that he's towards the bottom side of the map, but with this heavy push going for them, it's really hard for Markoon to look for anything. Elyoya also path top to bot, so very good coverage for his duo lane.
And if Markoon were to set up any potential plays, Elyoya may be in the area, may be able to respond without SK's knowledge. This middle lane, Sertuss has been able to shove all the way forward into Nisqy's Gragas. Every time those Sand Soldiers are dropped though, Nisqy's looking for opportunities to step forward, looking for opportunities to force Sertuss back. If he gets caught by that body slam, there's a lot of damage that can be thrown back out.
Yeah, body slam at level 6 too, a lot of displacement. Because I think one of the big misses in Mad Lions draft last game was Vi jungle, cast in mid. Really hard to play around that lane. Whereas with the Gragas, so much potential to set up for that, especially around level 6. Like, I can't stop thinking in my brain about FLICKR's Gragas mid at Worlds, like ulting cool underneath the tower, just the insane old cask of those days when level 6 comes online. There's so much playmaking potential around this lane.
And I feel like you have to as Mad Lions as well, because traditionally when you go for an aggressive bot lane with the Draven, you want something that has push in mid, so you don't have a mid laner getting involved. If you just leave it as is, could be problems, but it might be problems already for SK.
Exakick is a little late to get back. DOS gets caught by that dredge line. Dash forward and flash from Exakick. DOS holding on to the sums for now. Throws out the heal finally, and Carzzy will be able to at least force that one. Hylissang throwing all the ults down.
Fantastic bubble from DOS to keep the bot lane safe. I think Hylissang was trying to predict the flash from Exakick, but ended up finding the fish instead, and now Markoon wants to get involved.
Oh, Markoon will be able to find Elyoya first. Crushing blow down, and 3 members of SK forcing out Elyoya. He's flashed into the tri-bush, but his first blood to Exakick.
Gorgeous flash from Markoon, gets in front of the vault breaker from Elyoya. Elyoya cannot escape, absolutely shuts it down. The same way you'd flash in front of a Sion trying to ult out of a top lane situation. It's absolutely perfect for Markoon tracking that one.
Fantastically done, especially for members of SK, and I think specifically for Exakick, who's been the danger man so many of SK's games. Take a look at this. On average, up 12 CS throughout the course of winter before today's games, plus 400 gold, and crucially for me, that is an insane damage per minute. He is always finding a way to have an impact in all of their games.
And the most impressive part is that he manages to go up against some of the best bot lanes that the LEC has and goes for the 2v2 kills, willing to push it to an edge and really show up. And just here, great addition from Markoon here. Hop over the wall, set up, flash in front, give Exakick that time to follow up with the slows provided by DOS, and it's an easy kill for the SK bot lane.
Yeah, Elyoya thought he was safe, but Markoon passed straight through the lane, then hopped over the ward. Hopped over the wall. There was a ward on Markoon's blue buff that Elyoya thought would have given him enough coverage to be comfortable there, but it doesn't end up paying off. Now, though, you always have to be concerned because Hylissang went for melee support versus range. He unlocks the ability to roam around the map. Nisqy level 6, Mad Lions eye up that mid lane, consider can we play around this area. That's exactly where Hylissang went after the base, but Sertuss on his side of the lane, not very gankable.
And it feels like you still want Elyoya to be able to play around this bot side to try and get Carzzy that early lead, but if you end up at SK continuously putting resources down here with Markoon, it becomes very difficult to do that. I wouldn't be surprised if we get 1 or 2 more ganks from Elyoya down to the bot lane, like potentially now where he's already moving, but maybe we then see him transition up to help Chasy on this top side, where he can actually exploit the fact you have that push in this lane.
Well, right now, DOS and Exakick were able to back away before Elyoya could get in range. Irrelevant will throw out that call of the Forge God, and Chasy flashes away to safety. Irrelevant and Markoon not able to combine for the kill.
Really cleverly played there by Chasy. I mean, he's just kind of face rolling into Irrelevant, but trying to knock him away from using that second cast of the Forge God. Really shuts down the playmaking, because this is the type of matchup, Ornn versus range champion on top side, where at level 6 you have so much kill threat. Ornn's back in the day would take unsealed spellbooks, they could switch over to Ignite, call their jungler up, and just kill whatever top laner they were playing against. But because Chasy dodges away from that, all he loses is the flash, and Markoon's time spent topside gives a very easy Drake over to Mad.
And it feels like this has been the story every single game, is Mad getting this early objective control, not giving SK anything. As Sertuss Good flash over the wall gets him away from that play.
Sertuss was hugging the left side of the lane there too, knowing that Hylissang very likely could look for a play. Ends up having to use the flash regardless, and this unlocks a lot of playmaking. Again, now that Nisqy doesn't have his, that's a little bit weaker, but Elyoya level 6 versus a flashless Sertuss, if he ever misplays with his E or Q, you have a big win to try and punish that.
Hey, just reverse that as well, right? You have Markoon is going to be hitting his own level 6. You've got the opportunity for Sertuss to dip his way in and get the Emperor's Divide. So this mid lane has become very volatile with both those summoner spells down.
And Elyoya once again setting himself up for a gank. Level 5 right now. Carzzy has rejoined the lane.
He's like 10% away from level 6. Look at bottom left screen. Look at that XP bar. It's ticking up. Needs one more minion, maybe 2 more minions. He needs this melee.
Gonna ding. Not gonna be able to get just
Level up.
Finally does. Cease and desist unlocked. Will slam down DOS. 1 kill secured already. A second to Sjokz.
Get it to Carzzy.
And DOS is taken out by Carzzy.
Money, 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 baby. Carzzy is racking it up in the bot lane. Elyoya takes over to 6 at the perfect time, and Carzzy wins big.
Brilliant setup from the Mad Lions, and as you say, abusing that timing window perfectly. Markoon will try to move up and answer a little bit with this Rift Herald on the top side, but look at how much gold Carzzy's been able to pick up immediately, starting to move towards that Essence Reaver.
Elyoya just airdropped Medal of Honor Airborne over here, flying out of the sky. Is able to get a double Vault Breaker. And also, I think his Vault Breaker last hit the minions that gave him level 6, so he's just doing it all on his own. Make sure the kills goes over to Carzzy. An easy plus 440. Call it a day.
And of course, it spent a fair amount of time there waiting for Carzzy to rejoin. No visibility, no awareness from Exakick and DOS. And on that Draven, it is so important to get him to that mythic, to get him that itemization advantage. Mad Lions have got a minor gold lead for now, but I think more importantly is how Elyoya is moving around the map and how active he has been able to get those advantages, get those summoner spells.
And I think one of the big questions for me coming into today was Elyoya versus Markoon. What can we see? Because Elyoya has been absolutely spectacular for Mad Lions and kind of reminiscent of what we've seen from Markoon, right? Elyoya wins Rookie the Split when he joins in 2021. Markoon has a fantastic year in Excel last year and trying to step up to be almost a veteran of this new roster for SK, but hasn't been able to keep pace with the Spanish jungler right now.
Not right now, and I think for Elyoya, one of the things that's been very useful for him in Mad Lions has been Hylissang. And we take a look at him as a support throughout the course of the year. Jungle proximity, mid lane proximity, that's the amount of time they spend around those respective roles. Hilly's been roaming a whole lot. This is the first time we've seen him on that melee support. With the engage, Carzzy's able to pick up that kill with the help of Hilly. He's now knocked up into the air by the Cyclone, flashes away to safety, stays alive before Markoon can get anywhere near, and it's 3 more kills to the Mad Lions.
Oh, no, 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 no. Hylissang and Carzzy just 2v3'd right there. Absolutely explode the first target, buying time, and Elyoya comes in to clean it all up. He might be looking for mid lane too. Check out how low Sertuss is. No flash on the Azir, and everyone is coming to party in the mid lane.
3 members of Mad Lions at least threatening Sertuss. Irrelevant will get caught by that belly bop. Throws out the Forge God, knocks up to Sertuss. Looks for the slide, the glide, and it's Exakick with the culling. That gets another for SK. He continues to chase forward. It's a double for Exakick, and they punish Mad Lions' attempts.
Where the hell did SK come from? They managed to catch Mad Lions with their pants down as they overextend, trying to make the play happen, but really nice job from SK to get something back for the bot lane.
Absolutely perfect. Again, they just got obliterated in the bot lane, but they're running up towards that top side. Have a great timing, and because it was supposed to be a dive attempt for Mad Lions, yes, they had 3 people around mid lane, but Elyoya was in the bot lane now. 2 players, 3 players on the top side for SK, but Hylissang is guarding to make sure that Nisqy can get all these minions safely.
Teleport there from Nisqy to at least clear out the wave, and with SK kind of swapping away from that 2v2, don't want to get stuck in lane with a fed Draven, especially when Hilly is being able to connect all of the CC and set up those kills.
I mean, great stand aside from Carzzy to set this up as well. Easy follow-up then from Hilly with the ultimate. Elyoya in position as well. And Hilly does a great job of kind of guiding that play through. With Sertuss now stuck.
There's flash already used, pulled backwards by the ulti, And Nisqy, with the help of Chasy, picks up yet another kill.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. The ultimate finally hits its target. Elyoya brings everyone into mid, and this is really good map movement from MAD Lions again. The fact that Chasy doesn't have a lane right now, well, he could go farm bot lane, but no, as the duo runs topside, he shifts down into mid. He's right there with Elyoya. They just went for this 2 minutes ago, but they run it back, and this time they went out.
No mid, no. I was going to say no dragon, actually, but Markoon's already on that. I assume MAD Lions were going to move over, but now irrelevant, holding down the fort in the mid lane.
Well, it's Hylissang going to be able to back up Nisqy, who is playing a Gragas mid lane for the first time in his career. A different look. It's one of these champions that obviously could be able to move side to side in the lanes, but with all of the shenanigans, look, Exakick is up in the top. There's pressure on the bottom lane, as all of a sudden SK will be able to pick up their first dragon. Carzzy completely uncontested. He's up 1,200 gold right now.
Look at the pathing. Elyoya already bot lane. Both Nisqy and Hylissang also running down here. Now the Herald will be able to get a big charge, but 4 plates remaining, it will not finish off the tower. So Carzzy gets solo turret in the top lane. A lot of money going over towards him. MAD Lions currently up 3,500 off of the back of this one, and they're not giving a dive opportunity over to the other side.
They're really not. Another plate there secured in the mid lane. Sertuss is applying pressure onto Nisqy, who's got nothing available to him. No flash, no ulti. And for the time being, it's Sertuss falling a little bit behind. Multiple ganks, multiple amounts of pressure is hurting his ability to farm.
I think a bit of a mistake from MAD Lions, though, not picking up that second dragon. Realistically, you have Carzzy who's absolutely huge. 2-item spike right now, and you've just bought time for SK to not actually have to go for any of these objective fights where you can abuse Carzzy, get time to look for Ornn to scale to later, Azir to scale to the late stage as well, and suddenly be a big threat to try and put that pressure onto Carzzy.
The way MAD Lions are playing right now, it's like trying to exploit gold for all it's worth. Playing for the turret plates, not caring as much about that second Drake, knowing that they can just continue to rack up on plates, getting one last one on Chasy before the turret falls, or the plating falls.
I mean, you talk about the gold, you talk about the advantage that Carzzy's been able to build up. Infinity Edge and Essence Reaver completed already into just the Gale Force there for Exakick. So he's going to be able to just melt through really anybody that stands in his way. It's nearly a 4,000 gold lead. And with already that tower secured in the top lane, Nisqy continues to move around the map just a little bit. And it looks like with the backs coming in, more itemization picked up in SK, they have to find an opportunity to bounce back into this game. They cannot afford to just have a straight up head-to-head fight with this Draven.
They're hoping there's an overextend, a push for a cut kill around mid lane. That's what Exakick and DOS were waiting for. But one thing you always have to watch when a team takes mass resets, right? MAD Lions, these 3 players all just recalled at the same time. They're going to move onto the map and make a play together, but SK are waiting.
While waiting for that fight, Dredgeline connected, Hilly flashes forward, gets a multi-man knock-up, the barrel splits up SK, and they are routed and running for their lives. Irrelevant arrives just a moment too late, and SK lose 2 members.
Oh my god, pause the game, stop. What did we just witness Hylissang do to them?
To do that?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Like, they've got 3 players there. All of SK is ready to go and look for a kill. And he doesn't even blink. He just lands a Q and then flashes in. Man has no fear whatsoever.
This is why I love watching Hylissang on melee engage style supports. Yes, he still plays those enchanters and those range champions in a similar vein, but they do not have that same level of flashy impact like his Nautilus.
Especially when you know you've just got this fed as all hell Draven following up behind you as well. You have so many advantages through that bot side for the side of MAD Lions, and they are looking to just punish. You're going to get Rift Herald off this play as well, and now you get to start cracking down these turrets, making sure that it becomes really difficult for anyone on SK to step up throughout the jungle.
I just don't know if SK will ever try to make a play again. Like the one time, they read what MAD Lions were trying to do, they grouped up around mid, and it just didn't even matter. That would put me into shock for the rest of the day.
It absolutely will. So the question is then, how and where do they find their angles? A quick update for you. I have heard from production that the players are reporting a peripheral issue. So while they work through that one, SK Gaming are 5,000 gold down. And just like we saw in that engage, if they try to start a fight, the Gragas is able to disengage to create the chaos necessary. So any of those mobility tools that are needed, that are used to initiate a fight for SK, instantly get cancelled. And on the re-engage, MAD Lions are just tearing through them.
And it's also the fact that you've got great opportunities to try and buy space for key members of MAD Lions. when you get the Gragas ult going down to keep Carzzy safe, and you got Hilly who can put himself into harm's way to start buying space for this Draven, it becomes very, very difficult. Because my big worry was, okay, Wukong, Ornn, dive in onto the back line. You got Azir to come through. He's even gone for the Crown of the Shattered Queen, so we can actually play a bit more forward and absorb some of these initial damages coming through from the Draven. But I just don't feel like when you've got Draven this far ahead, that it's going to be that easy with the peel that's available to actually get access to the Draven in these fights.
So let's talk a little bit about the next few minutes. We're currently 15 into the game, and what we've seen throughout both of the previous games this series is MAD Lions picking fights, hunting, applying pressure throughout. Can they continue to do that this time round? While we were in that on camera, Carzzy was engaged upon by Irrelevant and was forced to flash to safety. And all of a sudden, Chasy now looking for Markoon. 2-level advantage, and Markoon will just taxi his way to minions for safety.
Yeah, so basically what happened was Carzzy was just trying to farm away in mid lane like you do, and Irrelevant was like, oh, you got a little distracted, a little pause there. I'm going to slam the ultimate, call out the GOAT, and force a flash out of Carzzy. So that is definitely a big target, especially heading into potential dragon fight in 2 minutes on that Cloud if SK do decide to fight them there.
I mean, that's the one thing that you do have to keep in mind. The team fight 5v5 from SK is incredibly powerful. They synergize very well. The thing is, they cannot afford to miss anything because of how far ahead this Draven is and the amount of damage difference between the respective carries.
Man, Elyoya learned from last game, because if this was last game, he would just hit ult and actually, he didn't have ult up. Never mind. Didn't learn a thing. He would ult it if he could.
Real hard. But anyway, in the mid lane now, going to be able to get down this outer turret. A lot of members from SK completely out of position here, so MAD should be totally fine. Might even get a second turret, to be perfectly honest.
Let's find out that Rift Herald will be able to charge up. At least 3 members staring down MAD Lions. Sertuss and Markoon making their way forward, holding on to their dredge line for now. Irrelevant will not be able to get pulled back by that hook from Hilly, but 2 more towers secured. The gold lead extended even more, and we're a minute until Dragon.
And they can back clear all of these wards, right? That's 2 control wards they're walking past it. Don't know if they spotted the one that Chasy just ran by. They did ping it out, so surely someone's going to be able to clear that. Maybe they didn't actually notice that one. They do have control wards aplenty down on this bot side of the jungle, so I think SK are going to try to cross map. They're trying to farm all these camps. MAD Lions aren't going to let them.
No, they're not. MAD Lions continue the hunt, continue to chase for kills. Markoon stays alive long enough to at least get 1 tick on that Cyclone, and Exakick flash available to him. We'll need that in just a moment. He's run out of mana. 4 members of SK now running through the river, and MAD Lions are chasing. That's Chasy with the first of the fight, and Irrelevant will be the next, buying some time for the rest of his squad. But SK are split. They're behind enemy lines, and it feels like just a matter of time.
They're trying to run. Doss splits apart from his mid laner, trying to pull the attention of the MAD Lions members as he runs under the towers. But Sertuss is still being chased, snapped down to the bot jungle because he's on a sliver of HP, and the whirling death from Carzzy.
No.
He's coming around the corner, ready to stop him. The dragon interrupts it, and Carzzy goes unstoppable.
And it feels to me like SK have been caught in the chaos, and it is MAD Lions tearing them apart. Every single initiation for the last 10 minutes has gone MAD Lions' way.
It was just gorgeous decision making again, because they just took this inner tower and they realized we don't actually have to play for Drake. SK want to switch towards the top side, but they have nowhere to run without that tower. So they just sprint through mid lane, where again, without tower, you have no vision, sneak up on SK, and SK realized they're actually on the wrong side of the map. They thought it was going to be a handshake and they could get a tower, get some camps for free. MAD Lions were having none of that. That's perfect snowballing.
And it's the fact that Exakick didn't have any mana. You didn't have Sertuss in the correct position. So many of these things falling apart because they didn't expect MAD Lions to contest them. So when they ended up finding that MAD Lions had come to join them, it was an absolute disaster, and Pad looking pretty happy with that one.
Oh yes, the coaching and analyst crew very happy with how this game is playing out. And I think for them, very important to actually pick up this win. SK were in a great position in the previous game, but it has felt like whoever's on blue side, whoever's been able to pick up that lead, has been able to run away with the game.
Fnatic just showed us Fnatic pause hack. Now it's Fnatic push hack. They found Chasy.
They have. Chasy's already down, but the re-engage is simply too much. Elyoya now trying to get the damage onto Doss as Markoon and Exakick stepping backwards. The mine throws him up in the air. Exakick is pulled back for Carzzy to use those spinning axes. Nisqy holding off 2 members of SK, and there's not enough damage. There's not enough support. Sertuss will arrive a little bit later in the fight, and Exakick is taken out by Carzzy. Now SK are running. It's 3-on-3 in the river. Sertuss, while healthy, simply doesn't have the front line.
4-on-3 now as Irrelevant shows up. He has the call of the Forge God. If Mad Lions were to overstep, there could be a potential punish. SK, frankly, they get away with the murder. Like, Guldborg gave them a tutorial earlier. They just managed to do it, getting 2 kills and slithering away.
It's also the fact you got these bounties, right? You get one off to Chasy, now you're going to get the bounty in the mid lane as well. It's a good amount of gold coming back, but it's a long way to crawl. You're still 8,000 gold behind. There's still a long way before SK can really come back into it, but maybe, just maybe, they can keep finding picks.
I really like this. They knew someone was going to come for that top wave. See, it's dead in the middle of that top lane, but here, both solo laners from SK are just not around, so somehow they have to kite this one through. I think Hylissang absolutely destroys Exakick a couple of times here with the Qs. That ult from Nisqy, actually problematic, allowed a player from SK to survive, I do think, but they're straight to the Baron.
That's already down to half. All 5 members of SK grouped up. No flash available for Exakick.
SK have no ult.
There are juicy targets indeed. Markoon, no Cyclone available to him. The engage from Irrelevant may cost his life. Call of the Forge God simply doesn't do enough. 1, 2, 3 members down for SK. It's Carzzy tearing through SK Gaming, and this should be the Baron secured.
Nisqy says, drinks on me tonight, lads. Brilliant cast into the back line that shuts down Exakick, and he wants more.
Oh, look at that damage. Chasy firing from SK's side of the rift. The ace, the Baron, the gigantic lead, and Mad Lions looking to close this one out.
That is just gross. Mad Lions forced the Baron so quickly. SK had a call of the Forge God and the Emperor's Divide. That was it running into the fight, and they got absolutely exploded by Nisqy and the rest of Mad Lions. A fantastic fight. This Draven continuing to look unstoppable, and Mad Lions, yeah, they stumbled in game 2, but they're straight back into it. Keep your eyes, though, because right now SK, they're running towards topside. They're pinging a ward in Mad Lions' blue buff jungle. If they could extend this, maybe there's an option, but that ward's so far away, and Mad Lions are just too damn strong.
There's another minion wave, Conga lining its way forward. Irrelevant takes a couple of those spinning axes, and here comes Hilly. Got the ult available as well. Irrelevant gets the knockup to buy some time. At least there's one back for Exakick, but that's Irrelevant dropping down. Carzzy's low, Carzzy's caught, Carzzy stopwatches up, but the rest of SK are taken out by the Pride. And once again, Mad Lions ace SK.
And Mad Lions will take game 2 off the back of a fantastic performance from Carzzy, bringing out the Draven one more time and showing that it should be feared.
Mad Lions looking to go 2-1 up in the series. Do they continue the pressure with the Baron empowered minions? It looks to be the case. It has been 544 days since Mad Lions have won a best of 5 here in Europe. It was the summer finals that they picked up the title for. And they're looking to put themselves in a position to take down
that's
SK.
Baron recalls. Wait, but Nisqy isn't hitting the B button. Oh no.
All right, well, will Nisqy be taken out? Where's the rest of the damage here? Is Irrelevant by some time. Call of the Forge God will hold Nisqy in place for now. Sertuss continuing the chase, tidal wave thrown as well, and Nisqy may be able to just waddle to safety, and SK can do nothing. Flicks on them, Nisqy.
No. Irrelevant's still chasing. It gives him the Timo thumbs up, the sad B. The rest of SK are on the way, but what are they gonna do? Finally manage to kill him? No, not today.
He stays alive while that's going on. The rest of Mad Lions push the bottom lane. They look to secure their 8th tower. Dragon has spawned as well, and Nisqy will not get taken down. All of a sudden, Mad Lions, now they are chasing onto yet another inhibitor turret.
Has been chased by Nisqy. He's been turned around.
Not like this.
Get a kill.
Not like this.
Not like this. Nisqy on his first ever Gragas mid, showing off at 23 minutes, looking for some sushi.
This is wrong. This is wrong.
Kill. And Dawson's forced to flash for his life. And look at this bottom lane. Still pressure from Mad with those Baron empowered minions.
Look, sushi and a drink sounds like a great time to me. Hylissang says, let's party.
Manages to find yet another hook. The Cyclone holds a couple of members in place, but there's not enough damage. The is not enough follow-up, and it's Elyoya followed by Carzzy to pick up more kills. The Nexus is that it already lost himself one of those turrets, and Mad Lions are dominating SK.
Don't worry though, DOS is still fine.
Yeah, it's not sushi, it's pigeons on the menu instead, because it's Sertuss that goes down. They're going to push on through, and there it is.
Mad Lions destroying SK, and a 1 win away from advancing to the third place match, the semi-finals. That was brutal. That was a game that Elyoya helped the Carzzy and bottom lane, as well as Hilly, to just completely take over. And SK looked lost.
No.
SK looked incapable of standing toe-to-toe.
There's just nothing you can do there. I look up when the game ends. Irrelevant was halfway off the stage as the Nexus was destroyed. SK out of sorts here, falling in just over 20 minutes. After they looked great in game 2, a completely different story.
But it feels damned if you do, damned if you don't there for SK. If you do not control the bottom side of the map, but Chasy just owns top side anyway because he constantly gets the push, he becomes massive. And I think he was a little bit under talked about here. Chasy was huge on this chase, dealing just as much damage as the Draven was. Across the board, it's Mad Lions stepping up again.
Yeah, not forget Chasy dodging out from that initial gank, shutting Irrelevant to the side, so the Forge God wasn't able to hit him. He survives, and then every time he had prio, he shifted into mid lane, right there with Elyoya, multiple moments where they were hammering home against Sertuss and making it so Sertuss couldn't have another Akali performance.
I mean, game 2 and game 3 were absolutely dominated by the respective junglers that got an advantage. Markoon Sejuani was able to set up SK to sort of run away with that earlier mid-game. In game 3, Elyoya and Mad destroyed SK. They are 1 win away from closing out the series. We're going to go to a break, and when we're back, can SK force the decider?
My name is Chasy. I'm so stupid.
What? You're so stupid, Jayce?
My name is Elyoya.
Jayce, it's okay to be stupid.
I'm here, guys. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
Oh,
Yes. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, look, I'm ulting there. It's flying. Okay, Azir dead. I'm gonna push mid.
I'm going.
Okay, you're going. Chasing with the